Hello, everyone. What we're going to talk about today is the effect that outliers have. So, yesterday, the assignment that I asked you to do was for you to kind of see what happened to the mean and the median when you had outliers. And what you should have realized is that when you had outliers, the median didn't change much because it was just adding one number to the end. But the mean did change a lot. And that should make sense to you because if you have all Bs, if you had all, test scores that were in the 85s, and then you get one you had one really bad day and you got a test score that was 20, that's going to drop down your average or your mean significantly, but the median does not change much. Okay, so this is what I wanted you to kind of realize yesterday are these two things, and these things are going to apply no matter what. When you have a high outlier, so a high outlier, the mean will increase significantly, and that means that the mean is going to be greater than the median because the median is not going to change much. And when you have a low outlier, the mean will decrease significantly, making the mean smaller than the median. So this is going to be super, super, super important. And this is going to be how you're going to answer pretty much all of our questions about outliers. So the other component is making sure that you know what an outlier looks like on the type of graphs that we're talking about. So a dot plot, here's what an outlier would look like on a dot plot. First, I'm going to do what a high outlier would look like, and then I'll do a low. So if I had some dot plot right here, and most of my points were like this, and then I had one point over here, this would be my high outlier. So I have a dot plot where most of the data is here, and I have one data point that's over here. This one data point is going to drag the mean up. It's going to make it higher, but the median is barely going to change. So a high outlier means that the mean is going to be greater than the median. And now what would a low outlier look like on a dot plot? Most of your data is going to be over here, but you would have one low point over here. So this is your low outlier, and this would mean that your mean is less than your median because this is going to drag down the mean. All right, let's take a look at a stem and leaf plot. So a high outlier, I'm just going to keep them the same. A high outlier, so if you had a stem and leaf plot, maybe this was 2, 3, 4, 5. If you had most of your data, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If most of your data was in the 20s and 30s, and then you had one data point over here, like 53, this would right here would be your high outlier. And this outlier, so say we were talking about the age of a group of friends, most of them are in their 20s and 30s, but then you have one person who's in their 50s. That's going to pull the average age up, and that's going to make the mean greater than the median. So a low outlier would look like this. So maybe 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So most things 2, 2, 7, 9. And remember with this stem and leaf plot, it's going to be low to high. 3, 5, 6, 7, 7. All right, so say we could be talking about age again. Most people are in their 30s or their 40s, and then you have one person who's 11. So maybe there's a group of people in a room, and most people are in their 30s and 40s, and then maybe there's someone's child, and so there's someone who's 11. This here would be a low outlier, and this low outlier would make the mean go down, so the mean would be less than the median, because the middle number is not going to be affected much by this one outlier, but the mean is. Okay, and then the last type is box and whisker plots. So if we have a high outlier, remembering that a box and whisker plot means that you have the low and then you have the high somewhere. And then you have the other quartiles. So this would have a high outlier because remember with the box and whisker plot, this is 25% of the data, 25, 25. So 75% of the data is over here and then only 25 is here. This must be an outlier because it's dragging everything else. So this has a high outlier and that would again mean that that drags up the mean, making the mean greater than the median. And then if we had a low outlier, it's going to mean that we're going to have this long whisker on the left. This one low point is going to drag the mean down. So the mean will be less than the median. Okay, so what's important here again is that realizing that a outlier will have a significant effect on the mean, but it barely messes with the median. And that can be seen from yesterday's assignment. And that has a great impact on, an outlier has a great impact on what a data set's going to look like. And so here are some examples on what an outlier will look like based on a dot plot, a stem and leaf plot, or a box and whisker plot. All right, and now you're going to complete the Schoology assignment. It should actually be pretty quick today. Just email me if you have any questions. There's my mouse.